Hello everybody, welcome back to the Flicks the Church Forgot. My name is Peter Laws. Now this is the third episode in a 3-part look at some re-releases from Vestron Video. And in this final part we're going to wrap up our look at Vestron's output and reflect on the hypocrisy you can see from kind of more A-list or art house studios when they denigrate exploitation movie makers. But before we get into all that, let's go futuristic with the class of 1999. So in the first 2 episodes of this series, we saw Vestron taking pot shots at the church, and then with the unholy, and then at the institution of the all-American family and parents. And now they aim their satirical sights on the education system, with perhaps, I'd say, the most accessible and high-octane film, certainly in this entire trio. In Class of 1999 from 1990, Stacy Keach plays a mullet-wearing albino tech exec who solves teen discipline problems by installing cyborg teachers into the worst school in America. Okay, now unlike the previous 2 films, and normally on this show, the Flicks the Church Forgot, it's all about horror, and this isn't technically a horror movie, this is more straight-up science fiction action thriller, but I'm just covering it briefly because it came out in this Vestron trio of re-releases. There's also, though, lots of skin-splitting gore in this film, including a pretty amazing but simple theatrical effect when some dude gets ripped through a wall, a hole in the wall, and his spine just literally pivots back and his legs go back and he's folded back on himself. It's like, wow, what an effect. Anyway, straight out of the gate, you can see that the influences of Class of 1999 are proudly and unashamedly displayed. The film starts with computer graphics of an American map, with narration about teen violence getting to epidemic levels, and so the government have put all youth gangs into these isolated high schools. This is all so similar to the opening sequence and concept of John Carpenter's superb Escape from New York that I'm really shocked to find that, or at least I'm not aware that Carpenter hasn't sued them, but I'm surprised they didn't. He certainly sued before. He successfully sued Luc Besson for ripping off Escape from New York in the film Lockout, which really stole the plot. But yeah, this initial idea that the school system is failing due to unruly teens, and they get shipped into these fire-free zones that the police never enter, has really got an Escape from New York vibe. Of course, it means that these high schools therefore become a wild west of violence, drugs, and mayhem. Right in the center of one of these areas is John F. Kennedy High School, which is where this new cyborg teacher experiment thing, this program, is being tested in the film. Now, early scenes of the program director, Dr. Bob Forrest, that's Stacy Keach's character, is where he shows off the cyborg's capabilities to an impressed board of education. And again, these scenes are lifted straight out of RoboCop, where Ed 209 is demoed to the investors. That really great scene. I always found that a scary scene, the Ed 209 scene in RoboCop when I saw that as a kid. But anyway, these military robots have now been reassigned as teachers, and they seem ideally suited to the task of dealing with these disaffected youths in these shocking high schools. The program is therefore put into motion. Cue delightful scenes of chemistry teachers throwing kids across the room and history professors brutally and with machine-like rapidity spanking biker kids till they weep. These, for me, really are the money shots of the whole film, these scenes. They're hard not to enjoy. You know, naturally in real life, teachers must follow rules and etiquette and perhaps might even become exploited and abused because of following those rules. Oh man, let me be honest with you. I remember at school, when I was at school, we used to treat some of our visiting supply teachers like dirt. It was shocking. I'm not proud of it, right? But I hasten to it. I wasn't like the instigator or the forefront of these things, but I am culpable because I would sit there and I would laugh along with everyone else. Like, for example, when a bunch of my fellow pupils at school literally bundled the French teacher and pushed her inside her own cupboard, took her keys and locked her inside for the rest of the lesson while laughing our heads off. Now, Oh man, I'm older and I have teachers for friends, and I shudder to think what that poor woman must have felt like when she got home that night, grabbing a shaky red wine and like weeping about her terrible job. As you can see, I feel a bit guilty about that. But at the time, everything just seemed to only ever be about at school. How funny is it? Like, if it was funny, that's what made it okay. Pretty messed up worldview, but anyway, I digress. Into this arena of bad discipline in schools stride these three cyborg teachers who just kick ass. I can't remember how I felt as a kid watching this the first time round, perhaps a little bit scared or daunted at the idea of a teacher going postal on me. But watching it's interesting, watching this as an adult, with a memory of the bad things some of me and my fellow students did to teachers as kids. And there is this certain sense of like high five delight when Mr. Harden, the polite and smiley history teacher, meets out his zero tolerance policy with public corporal punishment at gonzo levels. Now, I'm not advocating hardcore discipline like this at schools, obviously, right? But what I'm trying to say is that those breaking the rules moments, the ideas of them, they feed into a certain delight. The same that we see in films like Falling Down with Michael Douglas, where people who are normally polite and restrained start acting in ways that are off the scale aggressive. And what makes them interesting is that we may sympathize with their motivation, if not their application. So yeah, I liked all that stuff in Class of 1999. Anyway, there's plenty more going on in the film. There's angsty teen gangs dressed like they've stepped out of a Duran Duran video. They're trying to fight back against the teaching staff and all that sort of stuff. All that melodramatic war stuff between the youth gangs. To me, I kind of found that stuff a bit tedious. You just get the idea of these like nice American actors who are like wearing these denim jackets and leather, trying to be like badass Mad Max adolescents. I didn't find them particularly threatening in any way. That's okay. But look, there's still some great stuff in the film. Fab chases, sequences at the end. The school chase at the end is just like in the Terminator, only this time it's the gym teacher who's stalking the kids and firing missiles at them. But man, the Terminator could have sued these guys too. In fact, there's some solid stunt work in this film and high-octane action sequences, along with lots of squirting green blood and really inventive makeup effects. Thinking about it, I am surprised that Class of 1999 hasn't developed more of a cult following, because all the elements are there. The grown-up cast is surprisingly strong too. Stacy Keach, he's a treat, with an amazing haircut and his albino look. Watch out for the scene where he tries to eat a banana and he misses his mouth. Maybe it was the contact lenses. And I think, as I recall, Keach was the one who came up with his styling, the styling for his character. But anyway, Malcolm McDowell is in this too as Dr. Miles Langford, the school principal. He always just adds something new to any film he's in. I like that guy. The mighty Pam Grier is Miss Connors, the chemistry teacher, impaling kids' feet on her stiletto heels. I think she got over a major illness to play in this film, and she does it great. In the extras, actually, it talks about how during shooting, Grier would go out and do soup runs and charity work with a church or something, and then get back and start shooting teens with her robotic firepower on the set. Nice paradox, that. And John P. Ryan is really great in the film as Mr. Harden, the history teacher. He's got this creepy grin and a polite chat that really adds something special to the film. Now, whether or not Class of 1999 is supposed to be a liberal-leaning, damning critique of the overzealous American school system, or a conservative rallying cry to discipline wayward teens, it's really hard to tell. I guess you just take your pick. But stuffing RoboCop and Escape from New York into a kind of dystopian breakfast club makes for a pretty hard to resist combo of action, horror, schlock.